Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Charles. So I'm working for a French company called Criteo. I'm supposed to have the next slide. But yes. I'm working at Criteo as a senior site reliability engineer. So I used to work in the monitoring world, the open source monitoring world, since a few years. I think it's 9 years. At the beginning of my career at Criteo, I was working in the observability team. Yes, we had a team calling observability. So basically, we were in charge of providing the observability stack to our developers because our customers, as an SRE, is other SREs and developers, which is something I think really good because we understand each other. It's cool. And now I'm working on a database service. I'm providing the database service at Criteo, the open source database service, because we have another database service which is not open source, but we are providing an open source database service because some people need this kind of stuff within the company. So we are in charge of this. Who is a DBA here? Do we have DBAs? Nope. Who is running MySQL or MariaDB? Okay, interesting. I'm not a DBA either, so it's fine. Yes. Okay, so the agenda. I will give you the context, what I'm doing, because at the beginning it was just some tips for you to get your more visibility on your database service. But the thing is that I received an email, I think it was in August, by the organization. They said, okay, you have more time if you want for your talk. I was like, oh, okay, I can make a feedback of what I did within my company. So I will give you that in the context. I will explain what we did. So we have a first iteration. We have a second iterations, and I will explain to you the next steps. And of course, at the end, I will share some resources with you because I created a GitHub repository with few stuff, I think, and I hope this will be interesting for you as well. So the context, when you are providing a database service, okay, you have the client, you have the application. So basically, you are in charge of the database server and the database, of course. Well, the database. You don't write the code that is within the database when you're just providing the service. You are giving just the box, and the guys, they have the applications with the database, and they put it there. It's just simple on the paper. Most of the time, you have the users, the client, they are complaining about, yes, the application is not working, we are receiving some errors, and the application guys, they used to come to the guy behind the DBA server, yes, I think your database is slow, the customers are not happy, the users are not happy, but look at this. You have the network, you have the application server, you have the database server, you have the database. Of course. It can be the network, it can be the database, it can be the application, it can be an error on the client side, it can be anything. So basically, providing a database service is not something which is really easy. You need to be very proactive on the monitoring. You need to have a lot of statistics. You need to have good monitoring, good alerting system. You need a lot of stuff. Okay? So the context is the following. As I said, this is the feedback. We are running MySQL on bare metal servers, really. We don't have a database in cloud and stuff like that, so we have real servers. We don't have any clusters. We just have 11 master replications on multiple data centers, but this is a very basic stuff. And when I joined the team last year, so I'm in the team since a year now. I think it's a year and 2 months, but who cares? I joined the team because I was a customer of this team, and at the beginning, I needed just 3 databases for my Grafana setup. And they said, oh no, we can't provide that because we are a bit busy right now. I said, okay, I can help you. What do you need? I can help you in monitoring, but I want my database. So we made a deal, and at the end, They said, can you stay in the team, please? Because we had a lot of issues. You know, we had backup issues. They had an issue in pre-production, fortunately. There is, you know, we have bare metal servers, we have Chef. Chef wiped all the servers in pre-prod. They said, oh yes, we have backup. But there were no monitoring, no alerting, no monitoring on backups. Backups were failing since the beginning. Yes. They said, yes, but we have metrics. They had the dashboards. I worked with them 2 years ago on this dashboard, but since then, the platform has evolved, but they still, oh, we have this dashboard, it's working, keep it like that. Okay, and you know, the fun fact is that the open source database was managed by some people that used to do other kind of databases. So they said, oh yes, we are just doing best effort on that. Alerting, oh, we have time for that. They had a tool called Monyog, a tool provided from MariaDB. You need to pay for this tool. And they said, we have that, but it's not working. If you have something better, feel free, make some proposition, and we'll see if we can do something. So they were flying blind. And just to give you a bit more details on the context, so we have an asset management within the company. Every server setup, because we have real servers, every server setup or decommission are using this application. So if this application is not working, basically the company is probably not good because we can't provide servers, we can't decommission servers, and we are blocking a lot of people. And at this time, they were very blocking for a lot of people. Created a database, that was a manual stuff. Every stuff was manual. So not good at all. And when I joined the team, I said, okay, guys, we should discuss about our roadmap. What do we need to do? What should we improve? What needs to be done to get to a reliable platform? Because the platform was not reliable at this time. So we decided to put alerting. We decided that if we have hidden stuff, hidden issues like the backup and all the stuff, because the backups were failing, we had the log files with backup fail and all the stuff, but there were no monitoring on that. Basically, if your backup is failing, this is a script, right? You can have a written status for this command or stuff like that, so you can push the metric for that, of course. But the system was not designed like this, which is fine. And we did an observable platform because every issues since the beginning, they were like, oh, we guessed that the problem was due to the backup because it's happening during the night, and during the night we have the backup. But at the end, I discovered that because I put some metrics, if you are running MariaDB 5.6, the systemd unit file is not working as expected. So basically your MySQL process is restarting randomly. And for us, it was during the night. For some important applications like Grafana, which is something really important for our company, because basically if something is firing during the night, the guys, they have Prometheus and they have Grafana. If Grafana is not working, we are blind. Of course, we have Graphite, but I think the new members in the company, they don't even know that Graphite Web exists. Yes, it's sad but true. And of course, the goal was we don't want to be a blocker for our users. They should be available to work without, can you give me the logs, the slow query logs? Can you give me that? Can you give me that? Can you give me that? Oh, just for your database. Okay. So you are doing a grep, SSH first, grep. Okay, you filter all the things you want. If you have a lot of stuff, you need to compress that, get it in your laptop, going on Slack, sending to the guy. Oh, next week it's another guy in my team, which is the interrupt guy. So you need to transfer this file to the other guy because I didn't have the time to take a look at that. Wow, okay, this is crazy. We wanted something really smooth and better. Okay, so I said, guys, we need an observable platform. And people were like, what? They said, what is observability? Okay, so I don't know what is observability. Let's go on Wikipedia and check what is observability. Okay, so observability, regarding Wikipedia, it's a measure of how well internal states of a system can be inferred from knowledge of its external outputs. This is from Wikipedia. And people were like, okay, let's get more information about that. They said, oh yes, we saw that observability has 3 pillars. That's why you have 3 pillars here. You should have monitoring, logging, and tracing. I said, yes, but in our case, we are providing a database service. What kind of tracing you will have? Of course, you can have your developers, the application owners to add tracing to see if the time to connect to the database is good, but we can work on that too. So, yes, people were probably convinced about that, so I decided to say, okay guys, the Wikipedia definition is a bit weird at some point, so no, Adobe, okay, it's fine. What I think about observability. Observability is just not about the tools. It's not a fancy name to say monitoring, because monitoring is a part of observability. But we used to have some people within the company, they said, oh, we have Grafana, we have observability. I said, no, Grafana is not observability. Not in your case. You're just having some metrics with a graphite backend. You don't have observability. You have monitoring. Come on. And it's more about transparency. Transparency not just for us, the guy providing the application or the database service, but also for our customers. Because if you need to have all information around the system, because basically when stuff are not working, it's network, and if you have a database, if it's not a network, it's a database, of course. And if you are using a JDBC driver or stuff like that, most of the time, the error message is completely random. And if you are using Django, good luck. Yes, those assumptions are based on my experience at Criteo, because we have a lot of Django applications, and we used to see some people, oh, we can't connect to the database. Yes, but I can't see your connections on my servers, so it's probably not my server. So you need to handle this kind of stuff. That's why transparency and visibility is really important, and also the access to the platform. Yesterday I saw a talk about log ingestion, something like that, and the guy said, oh no, you need to have access to the tool. But the good news is that in my company, we have metrics, we have dashboards, we have all the stuff that are available for all the SREs and developer teams. So we don't have any walls or stuff like that. Oh, you need to earn your access to the prod and stuff like that. It does not exist in our case, because we are all in the same organization, which is probably easier in that case. Okay, so why a system needs to be observable? Because if your users are facing issues before you see those issues, you have some issues, reputation issues. Oh, those guys, they suck. They have issues. They don't even know. We need to come at their desk to complain. Yes, they have metrics, but they don't know how to read those metrics. We want something that is really customer-centric. So we need to test the thing as the user in the same context, basically. And of course, we need to verify few stuff and answer some basic questions about our platform, like, is the database slow? Is the database working? Yesterday, was the database working or not? Because I didn't tell you, but we have collocated databases on servers. So you can have one database which is doing a lot of writes, and one database which is doing a lot of reads. If they are all together on the same server, you need to understand few stuff. And you need to be smart when you are deploying the database on these servers, and which is probably the most harder part in this team. You need long-term trend analysis on your platform. Basically, when we migrated from 5.6 to 10.3, because we are running 10.3, it's not the last version, but we saw some differences in our case. We had the metrics and all the stuff. And of course, if you can't measure something, you can't say, I'm managing this service. I'm providing this to you, and I'm not measuring it. I'm not able to verifying if it's working as expected for the customer. So yeah, we have a lot of stuff. So, and of course, the service was not reliable. You need reliability. and observability is really fundamental for the reliability. If some of you know the Google SRE book, you can see this analogy to the Maslow's hierarchy of needs. Basically, you can see the first step is the monitoring. How can you develop a tool, maintain a tool, and providing a tool without having monitoring to have the difference between each releases? Come on, this is crazy. I told before, we don't want to fly blind. So you need to add visibility. So reliability is very important. If you don't have observability, you can't automate things because you can't have exact information about the state of your service and all those stuff. So this is really, really crazy. So yeah, observability is very important. It's important, but it's not something simple. You know, you can see this is in Spain. Dragon Can. I don't know if you tried that. We did that in team building. It's crazy. You should try that. It's in Barcelona. So yeah, this can describe my point of view of the observability effects. Okay, because when I came in the team, started with one topic, the monitoring. And I remember the first month, I have a colleague, he came at my desk, he said, stop it. Stop it, because we thought that our platform was really good, but we are discovering issues every week. Come on. So yeah, we had up and downs, and people get frustrated. Of course, when I said, guys, we need that. This is the process. Trust the process. We need to go through that, and then we should be able to have an interesting platform. We will empower users, because if you can provide interesting graph, useful graph, meaningful graph for you and for your users, you can understand how the platform is working. Your users, if you explain them how this thing is working, they can also understand. So this is really, really important, because giving superpowers, because observability is giving superpowers to everyone, to you and to your users, of course. Basically, after we started to revamp all the metric system, we have some users, they are releasing their code, their application, and they are sending some message on Slack. Okay, guys, we released our app. We think that we have something wrong. We saw the graph, our graph. So they had the good reflexes to check the graph. And we are providing a patch. If there is something, please contact us. We will roll back if it's very urgent. So this is really, really important. And of course, you need to be patient, because it took us like more than 6 months to put all of that in place, because we had to prioritize all the tasks and all the stuff. So that was not the main thing. Once we had the monitoring thing, which is working, and the alerting, so we said, okay, we need few other stuff, but we can wait. It's fine. So yeah, important but hard. Remember the roller coaster. This is not an easy thing. So we know what is observability. We know what are the effects of the observability. I think we are ready to go in this adventure. So our first iteration was the metrics. So we had to work on the metrics, because basically at the beginning we had graphs. Of course, you have the replication lag, which is the lag in seconds, on the same graph and the same panel than the relay log, which is in megabyte. So can you read that graph? Can you understand that graph? We have the number of connections and all the stuff. The units were not correct. So no one in the team was able to read the graph and to understand what's in this graph. Is it a percentage? Is it a time per second? Is it a second? Is it a stuff like that? So we had to fix this kind of stuff. But yeah, you have a lot of methods to start, to gathering metrics. But how to start? We saw that you have use method, you have run methods, you have case method, you have a lot of stuff. What can we do? Okay, first we have the use method. The use method, I think this is a very famous method. This was introduced by Brenda Gregg. This is basically used for utilization, saturation, and errors. So this is basically all your system metrics. you know if your Linux server is working as expected. You can check the resources and all other stuff. So basically, this is system metrics. You have the 4 golden signals, once again from the Google Asari book, which is a really good book. I recommend you if you didn't read that book. This is really interesting. So the golden signals are latency, the response times, the queue wait time, because we are providing a database. What our user they want the database to be fast. They want the query to not be blocked by something else within the database, even if sometimes their own database schema is blocking their queries because they don't use indexes and all that stuff. The traffic, we need to measure how much demand our service is facing. These are basic stuff that we need to do. You have the errors, of course. You have the saturation, how full is your service. And this is also interesting when you want to do some capacity planning and stuff like that. You have the RED method, introduced by Tom Wilkie. This is a subset of the 4 golden signals, because of course, Tom, he worked at Google, and when he started to work outside of Google, he decided to create the RED method, rate for rate, errors, and durations. So usually this is applied to microservice. But you'll see we can have a derivative of that for a few other methods. You have the 7 golden signals. This was introduced by Baron Schwartz. This is a guy which is quite good in the database topic. Well, databases, because more than one database. He introduced the 7 golden signals, which is the SELT and use. We saw the use method. Now the SELT, concurrency, error rate, latency, and throughput, which are very oriented to databases system, which is interesting for us now. In our case, we'll pick something like that. And you have the case method. So the case method is inspired by the use method and the Tom Wilkie's RED method. So this was introduced by Corey Watson. This is a guy also famous in the monitoring world. C for context EV, actionable, symptom-based, and evaluated. I will provide more details about that on GitHub, because I don't know very well this method, to be honest with you. So wait, we have a lot of information to ingest. What should we do? Okay, we need a plan. So in our case, the preferred approach was to use the 7 golden signals, because the 7 golden signals was database oriented. And we didn't use the 4 golden signals because the 4 golden signals is more based on stuff like you have SLAs and stuff like that. At that time, we didn't have SLAs and few other stuff, so we were not able to have some useful information from the user point of view. Like we didn't have a probe that will use the same DNS as the user and connect from outside of the DB. So we decided to start with a simple method, 7 golden signals. This is good to measure the service quality, in our case, applied to the database. And you have the system and the application metrics, which are interesting for us. So how to collect the metrics? We have the methods. Now we need to know how to collect the metrics. So you have a lot of solutions. In our case, we are using collectd. We are also using the node exporter, but not for that specific case. We are using the node exporter for our backup monitoring. Yes, because back in the days, I said, guys, we should not rely on the push gateway, the Prometheus push gateway. And they said, yes, we should use that. And we had some issues because the push gateway is stateless, and it's running on a container in my company. And when the container is restarted, so you will lose everything. So you can lose the state of your backups. Backups are running twice a day, so if it's restarted at the wrong time, you don't have the status of your backups, which is not good. And we had to deal with that. So that's why we decided to have the node exporter. We are exporting all the time the last status, and which is fine until the next round of the backup. So we are using collectd and the MySQL exporter. which is a plugin for the collectd. No, we are not using the MySQL exporter. We are using the Python MySQL plugin for collectd. We forked this project because we made some pull requests on the upstream project, but I think the guy is not maintaining the project anymore. So this is the open source world. So we had a lot of patches. We decided to use some stuff in performance schema. I don't know if you are familiar with performance schema, to have more stats on InnoDB and stuff like that. So which is interesting. Those are clickable, so you can click on that. The slide will be available. And you have few other methods. So this is cool. Yes, I made few pull requests on that. That was quite funny for me. I like sometimes doing some stuff in Python. It's cool. Okay, we have what will be our approach. What method should we use? Okay, what kind of tool we can use? But now, we are measuring metrics. We have all the stuff. What can we do? As I said before, we needed alerting to see if the service is working or not. So you need alerting. You need to put some useful indicators. I don't like this word, that's why it's in quote. You need to put some useful indicators to know if your service is working as expected or not. So you have this thread usage because databases are collocated, right? So we need to know if one server is not overloaded, so we can balance the database on another servers and other stuff. The service status, if MariaDB is running or not, because we saw before, I told you, we had some random restarts, and they said it's the backup. That was not the backup. For your information, in MariaDB 5.6, the unit file has been converted by a tool, which is in charge of converting initd scripts in systemd unit file. So basically, when your service is started, the status is not started but exceeded. So, and systemd, I think systemd is scanning this kind of status, and when it's exceeded, it said, oh, the service is probably not running, so I retrigger restart. But this is during the night, and you're like, this is the backup. The backup is creating a log, and this is why the database was not available. But we didn't add metrics on the logs and all the stuff, so just a guess. We don't have proof of that. And with this kind of stuff, we were able to see, oh yes, this was systemd. And not the backups, because we had the logs. Also, we had some documentation like, yes, we can restore your backup in less than 24 hours. We have this kind of stuff. We had some commitments about data loss and all the stuff. I said, guys, calm down. You don't even know how many times it takes to do a backup. What is your backup size? What is the backup status? We didn't have this information before. We don't have restore. How can you say we can restore your data if you don't test the restore those data, and how many times I can restore this database, this server, and this kind of stuff? I said, no, this is crazy. So we decided to pick some kind of stuff, put some metrics on it. As I said, we have replication, so we had some monitoring on the replication lag, thanks to PT-Heartbeat, another wonderful open source tool. And we decided to say, okay, if the thread usage is critical, is this an important thing or not? Yes. So we decided to put some alertings, severity page. You should page someone during the night if the thread usage is not with a lower number. The service status, is your service up or down? Okay, page. Backup status, the backup has failed. Should I wake up during the night to fix the backup? This can wait tomorrow. Ticket severity. And we do this kind of stuff. The replication lag. The replication is just for us. If the master server is having a hardware issue because it's a real server, if you need to change the motherboard or stuff like that, you need to cut the server and you need a backup. So what you said, oh, we had an issue. Wait, the server is not working, but the data was there. We can take your backup from yesterday and restore it. No, we decided to use the replication, but replication lag was not something really important for us, so we decided to just use the ticket severity for that. So we had alerting. So in that time, I remember we had a lot of issues about the service status during the night. They said, no, remove the page severity. I said, no, we should fix it. We should understand why it's not working. You can't say, oh, I get page during the night. Delete that alert. It's not useful. Yes, it is. And this is why. You get page 3 times a night. That means you need to fix that. Don't avoid this kind of stuff. This is life. But we have the metrics, we have the alerts. How to show those metrics? We need to show those metrics to the users. So, of course, we did some dashboards. These are the new dashboards that I didn't create those dashboards. I saw a guy on GitHub, he posted his dashboard, and then I made few adjustments for us. And of course, you will have the link to those dashboards. So we decided to have a global overview because we had a preview dashboard, but we had InnoDB metrics, we have few stats on that, and it was not complete. You have all the stuff on one single dashboard, but it was not really complete. So we decided to have something like a global view for only the simple stuff in the database service. And you can see we have logs. So we have the type of select, the delete, and all the stuff, of course, in there. You have a lot of metrics. Specific dashboard for the InnoDB metrics. Fun fact is that last week we had an issue, and this dashboard, I compared to the previous dashboard. This dashboard showed us some differences between 2 slaves. And we didn't understand. We had a replication lag of less than 5 minutes, so we didn't get a ticket for that, on one server. And the issue, I remember we restarted the server. I was like, this is the disk. I'm pretty sure the disk is dead. Test. I told my colleague, I said, test to write something with 10 megabytes, and we should measure how many times he can write 10 megabytes. Oh no, it's not a disk. It's not an hardware issue. Oh, come on. I was desperate. I said, can you try an optimized table? Probably old indexes, but I don't understand. This is just a slave. Why? The master doesn't have this issue. The other slave doesn't have this issue, but this slave is having this issue. And we were spotting the queries. We were running a lot of, like, you have 2-3 times this query per minute. I said, nah, probably the index. So we ran an optimized table, and we saw big differences. We said, oh, okay, interesting. But we had this information in the metrics. And we also had the metrics on the replication lag, but it was less than 5 minutes, and we set a threshold of 5 minutes for the replication. But yeah, we should improve that too. And of course, we created a simple view for our users. So basically, our customer Grafana, you can see the latency. We will open source our new probe. Those are measured by a probe. We have a probe which is querying the database, because we are using console to discover the database, and people are using console DNS to know where the database is. So if you are changing the master or the slave servers, they just have the same DNS, which is cool. So we need to test the connection like the users from outside of the server. So this probe is doing that, and we have a lot of simple stats for the users. Again, database, yes, database size. When we create a new database, we are like, what is the size of the database? 5 gigs. I took 2 hours to read all the pages about each database, and there is a team, they asked for 10 gigs, and they had 100 gigs. Okay, interesting. This is also something that we had in the Python collect day plugin. And of course, you have the use dashboard for your system, because you know your disk can be full. This can happen because of MySQL. Believe me. Yes, look at this. We had an issue. Fortunately and unfortunately for me, I was the interrupt guy. The interrupt guy is the guy handling the issues during the day. So you have a dashboard, you have the alerts, and you have some simple tasks that you need to do. And if people have questions about, hey, I need to create a database, what I need to do? Hey, I have some questions about those metrics. Hey, I have some, You are the guy for that. So we had an issues. I was like, okay, 2.6 terabyte. That was an issue with a TMP table. I was like, okay, that was tough because I was getting really frustrated about that. We have the metrics, but I didn't have the context. So I don't know what is the issue. And I'm like, come on, man. You have, and I was trying to read this file, but 2.6 terabyte. I said, okay, I give up. We had some guys, when you are requesting a database, of course, they are collocated, so we put some security on that. Okay, how many simultaneous connections for your app? They said, oh, they put a random number. Okay, fine. So they launched the app. Oh, it's not working. Okay, shut down. Relaunch the app. Oh, it's not working. Okay, shut down. Relaunch the app. And then the guy, he came at my desk, he said, oh, your database is shitty. It's not working. I said, oh, calm down. What's your issue? Look. I said, okay, and how many connections did you ask for the simultaneous connection? I don't know. Okay, you created this request, right? That was you. Yeah, okay. At the end, we put the right number and it's fine. It's fine. But I told him, you need also to fix your code because I won't allow you to use all of that because the max is 2K. Come on. And also, as you can see, our metric system is working. And it's interesting. This is a database cleaning for an app, internal app. And we ran the optimized table to clean the whole indexes and all the stuff. Look how many space that we saved. Good, interesting. So the database exposed a lot of metrics about their status, but much less about the details of their workload. So we try to focus on that. I'm still working on that because I need more and more information because the thing with the old indexes, when I ran the optimized table, I was like, come on. We have sysschema. I don't know if you know what is sysschema. I'm trying to spot this kind of stuff by using sysschema. So this is one of the next steps for my stuff. We have system and database metrics. We have alertings. Everything is fine. We have dashboards metrics easily available for everyone. So, well, this is good. Good. Okay. We had a guy. He came at our desk. He said, oh, you know what? Last week, we think that the database was slow. Really? Yes. Okay. I'm looking at the graph. Oh, yes. Once again, no context. I was like, come on. Come on. Oh. And we have a lot of guys that are coming. We think our database is slow, so we can see some stuff on the metrics, but we have no context. But he said, yes, you have issues, but as you don't have context, you don't know what it is. Yes, you want an observable platform, but you're not good enough. It's not good. You need to improve that. So we needed context. Okay, I said, guys, okay, we have an issue. We need context. Cool. Let's look at the logs, because, you have monitoring logs. Oh, let's work on the logs. Good. I was like, oh, this is simple, really simple. We should log all the queries, so basically you enable the general log. Okay? We have a lot of queries. I was like, install an agent or ship the logs with custom fields to be able to make the stuff more interesting to our users, to filter on their users or database and all the stuff, and the log time and few stuff like that. And I was like, and we just make the log available for the users. This is really simple. Yes, well, I was thinking, I was like, yes, no. If I'm sending all the query log inside Elasticsearch, okay, basically, I think the team in charge of Elasticsearch will get contact to me and said, oh, can you stop that, please? So I was like, yes. What do I need first? What is the most important stuff when you are an application owner? So you have issues, basically when you have slow queries and stuff like that. This is what you need, right? You need to know if you have some queries that are slow and blocking applications. I said, oh, this is cool. So I checked the documentation of MariaDB. I said, oh, yes. And of course, you can throttle the slow queries if you have some issues. So this is a good point. And I can do that easily. OK, so then we decided to ship these slow queries only. And we said, OK, we'll start with the default value, 10 seconds for slow queries, which is a higher number, because we should go lower than that. This is a goal for the next steps. I was like, OK, I'm using Chef. If I need to install something like FileBit or stuff like that, OK, no. We have rsyslog. I will use rsyslog. OK, because, but I look at the log files for these slow queries. This is a multiple line logs. I was like, OK. So I talked to a guy. He helped me on that. And we built a template to ship the slow query logs. The stuff is available on GitHub. You will see. This guy is really good on that. And of course, we were able to send the logs in Elasticsearch, and then our users can now see them in Kibana. So this is an example. So you have the raw message here, and you have the query. This is our backup mechanism. So we said that our backup suck, and they said, really? I said, look, this is the time in seconds, 184 seconds. This is my dumper. So we had a lot of stuff like that. We have put in place a new backup mechanism now. Yeah. This is another stuff from one of our users. 16 seconds, it's fine. Another example, so yeah, they can filter on the log times, they can filter on the schema, which is a database. This is a backup, right? I think this is a backup or the replication. Yes, this is the backup. The user is there. You can filter on the user, they can filter on a lot of stuff. So I sent an email. I waited 2 weeks before I communicate to the users because I was like, is it really working? No, wait. And I decided to communicate to the users, and I received this email from my colleague. He said, very good, I already spot slow queries in Mumak, bad request design, and he pushed a review, but the leak is not visible, but yes, customers are happy about that. And the benefit from that is that we are not a blocker, because right now when the developers are releasing their apps, they can see, they can read the graphics, the graphs, they can check their slow query logs in Kibana. They are happy with that. I said, okay guys, maybe we will use 10 seconds for slow queries to improve that step by step. And we have happy customers, developers, users, of course. So the conclusion about that is that the visibility and the transparency on our platform is really, really better, because we had a lot of email feedbacks from users like, guys, honestly, for a DBA team, you rock. Because we had, for the asset management, we had an issue. And the guy said, oh, we have an issue with the database. Our API is not working. I was like, yes, and this is the query that is blocking your app. And the guy, he came at my desk, he said, how did you find that? And I showed him, and they sent an email to the team to say, thank you. We like the service that you are currently providing. So shipping slow query logs is not easy, important point. And the combo of metrics and logs with the slow queries is good, but honestly, I want more, and I think our users, they want more. They ask 2 requests for deadlocks and for the number of connections. And the next steps is to continue the SQL logging. Of course, leverage the usage of this schema. We want metrics per database, because now we have metrics per server, but the database are collocated. And publish our SLAs, because we have SLO, SLIs, SLR, and all the stuff. If you want to know more about SLA and all the stuff, I will be available after this talk. Open source our new probe, which is doing the connection and giving us some metrics to compute the SLAs and all the stuff. And of course, I told you about my repository on GitHub. It's work in progress, so yeah. And thank you, that's it.
So thank you very much.
Thank you.
Any questions?
Oh yeah, but now resume. I will show you the, I can show you the, oh, come here. Yes, I don't know why. So basically, look at that. That's my colleague work. Yes, yes, yes. He did that in 2 hours. 2 hours. He was like, okay, we discussed around the coffee, and he get back to his desk, and 2 hours later, he sent me that. He said, try that, can you try that? I said, what the? Okay. No, this guy is good. This is why I decided to create this repository to share some resources.
Okay, any more questions?
Are you planning this also for other databases, like DB2 or MySQL or
Only
whatever?
MySQL and MariaDB.
Okay.
Yes, this is, of course, we have a team which is working in Microsoft SQL Server. MariaDB was kind of the sandbox to try new things and to inspire the other team to do the same. So yeah, basically when we are doing stuff like that, they're like, oh gosh, we need to have this level of service. But they are trying. It's not as easy for them, but yeah. If tomorrow we have Postgres, we can do the same, I think. We will work on that.
You need more advertising.
Why?
Yeah.
Thank
Thanks.
you.